ago, in a quiet village nestled among green hills, lived a cheerful couple and their two beloved children, a son and a daughter. Their life was peaceful, full of laughter and love. But this happiness was not to last. One day, the mother fell gravely ill and, despite all efforts, passed away. The family was heartbroken, especially the children, who were still very young. In time, the father remarried, hoping his new wife would care for the children with a mother's love. At first, she seemed gentle and kind. She smiled and helped around the house. But her kindness was only a mask. Behind closed doors and away from the father's gaze, her true nature came to light. The stepmother was cruel. She scolded the children for no reason, made them sleep hungry, and treated them harshly. The cheerful home grew quiet. The children still played, but their laughter had faded, replaced by sadness in their eyes and silence in their voices. The father began to notice the change. The sparkle in his children's eyes was gone. One evening, while watching them from afar, he sighed. "My children are not being cared for as they should. I must do something." So, the next morning, he took them to a field near the edge of the forest, a place where they once played freely with their late mother. That day, the children laughed again. They ran, played, and smiled for the first time in months. The father watched with a heavy heart, torn between protecting them and the pain of leaving them behind. As dusk approached, the children clung to him, sensing his sadness. With trembling hands, he embraced them and whispered, "My dear ones, I can no longer bear to see you suffer. Stay here in the field. I will send food every day and ensure you are safe." Holding back tears, he turned and walked away, leaving them waving at him in the fading light. Alone in the hut by the field, the siblings held each other tightly as night fell. The older brother comforted his sister, promising to protect her always. Wrapped in each other's arms, they fell asleep under the starlit sky. The next day, true to his word, the father asked his new wife to prepare food for the children. But the stepmother, bitter and heartless, filled banana leaves not with rice and meat, but with ashes and scraps, sending filth and rodents instead of nourishment. Day after day, the cruel trick continued. The children opened the leaves in hope, only to find rot and filth. Starving and abandoned, they survived on maize from the field, and gathered wild berries and forest herbs to fill their stomachs. Months passed. One day, the father returned to the field, but the children were nowhere in sight. "Where are you, my children?" he cried out. Then from the treetops, he heard rustling. To his astonishment, two monkeys swung down from the branches and stood before him. He recognized them immediately. His son and daughter. "My children," he gasped, eyes brimming with tears. The monkeys spoke in sorrowful tones. "Father, we waited and hoped, but the food she sent was never meant for us. She fed us filth. We could no longer live like humans. So we chose the forest, and now we live as monkeys, eating what nature provides." The father fell to his knees, overwhelmed with grief. "Forgive me," he whispered. "I had no idea." But the children, now monkeys, shook their heads gently. "Do not cry, father. We know your heart. We will always love you. But we cannot return. We belong to the forest now." With heavy sorrow, the father said, "Then promise me this, never come near the village. If you see people, hide. Eat only what remains after the humans are gone. This will be your home now." The children nodded and disappeared into the trees. Heartbroken, the man returned home. He spoke no words for many days. The wicked stepmother noticed the change in him and tried to act kindly again. But the father could no longer pretend. One evening he summoned her and said, "I married you in hope you would love my children as your own. Instead you brought them pain. I can no longer live with someone who has such cruelty in her heart. Leave this house. Go to your father's home. Tell them why you were sent away." She begged for forgiveness, but the man remained unmoved. Without another word, she left the house. This is how the forest gained two monkeys, who once were human, a brother and sister bound by love, who chose freedom and nature over cruelty and despair. Their story lives on, whispered among trees and retold to remind us of the innocence of children and the depth of a father's sorrow. If this story touched your heart, imagine the countless legends waiting just around the bend. Dive deeper into the forgotten folktales, ancestral wisdom, and soul-stirring stories of Northeast India. Hit subscribe and let the whispers of the hills lead you to magic, mystery, and meaning.